Hello and welcome to India's largest platform for entrepreneurs, leaders of tomorrow. I'm Sunanda Jayasheelan. On the show tonight, a special series that we call Eye on Dubai, featuring some of the most innovative businesses out of the Dubai UAE market. Tonight, we're talking all things Edtech. I'm also in conversation with someone who needs no introduction. She has just launched her entrepreneurial journey. I'm in conversation with Tapsee Pannu. Tonight on our Eye on Dubai special series, let's turn the lens on the edtech space. What are the latest innovations? How is the Dubai UAE market responding to the opportunities being presented by the tech space when it comes to education? All of that being covered in today's interview. Let's in fact head on over to Karen, who's joining us from the ground with the Edutech and the co-founder and CEO of the company joining us on this very special interview. Karen, it's over to you.
Hi Sunanda. The edutech industry is booming as institutions, both large and small, adopt a hybrid approach to learning. This trend is apparent in Dubai, which is becoming a preferred market for edutech startups targeting the Middle East. Earlier today, I spoke to Shameem Parveen, CEO and co-founder of Edutech, about technology and trends driving the sector. How did the idea for Edutech come about?
So in 1991, we were establishing a company here. We were clear we wanted to be in the education business. But when talking to a number of our advisors and through our research, we saw there was a great potential for technology in education in the near term and very much so in the long term. And so hence came the idea of setting up Edutech in 1991. Also, the region was ready for it in terms of the number of education institutions that was coming up. We could see that the leadership was investing in education and also the potential to scale and grow the business in the Middle East region from Dubai. And all of that came to be true.
Why did you set up in Dubai and then expand into India?
Sure. So for all the reasons, like when we saw Dubai had the potential to be a center in the Middle East where we could go into all of the neighboring Middle Eastern countries, but we wanted to establish in a location which was more open for innovation, open for newer ideas to be implemented. And in 91, technology was not prevalent in education. It was very nascent. And there was a number of institutes who were willing to experiment along with us to integrate it and implement it in their teaching and learning processes. And hence we had then a story to be able to take it across to the region. And in 2000, when we thought that the Indian market was ready for it, India has always been a country that focused on education. There's also a billion people market. We always wanted to get there, but we thought 2000 was the right time to get there because technology was getting to be more acceptable. We still didn't have the kind of a speech that we have today, but the education institutions, specifically the ones that were innovating, were ready for that. And we always like to be in a market ahead of time. And that's the way that we are able to lead it. And that's how we went into India after being in Dubai and establishing ourselves over here.
What trends are shaping the education sector at the moment?
A number of trends actually. One is actually the prevalence of technology itself have made it possible for utilizing technology to enhance student learning and outcomes. Like using artificial intelligence within the learning systems provides the educators information about students who are lagging behind, who need more help, and also students who are ready for additional challenges. So we're able to personalize this more for the students right now. And also the adoption of modern teaching pedagogies and practices. It's no more teachers think that they're going to come in and impart knowledge because students have access to these knowledge. What they want is a more an active, engaging learning environment that expands their thinking, gives them more complex problems that they can solve, and also puts them in challenging environments so that they can build up their grit and their problem solving capability, which then becomes a part of how they can operate when they get into the real life. And today's the environment outside is very challenging, and the kids are going to face a lot of global challenges. So the education is expanding to integrate these aspects in there. And also what I'm very glad also to see is the acceptance of being able to provide education for a lot of learning challenges as well that exist. So special education has become given more importance right now, and providing opportunities for all levels of learning. That's, we see, is a huge important factor in learning.
How did COVID impact your business and the industry in general?
So yes, COVID did impact us all, and everybody was taken by surprise, and so were we. So the initial importance for us was the safety and well-being of our team members, and in fact the whole world, and we couldn't really step outside, so we couldn't do much. So we actually took the time to see what we could do to ensure that we can do our part in continuing education, because that one had to go on. So we actually pivoted in a number of different ways in where we were providing a lot of hands-on learning, which required equipments and tools which students and teachers didn't have access to. We started providing that online, and a lot of teachers were ready for online. It took them overnight to be able to skilled up, and technology as well to be able to provide those accesses. And so we were able to pivot many of our learning experiences that were classroom based to an online model. And that was something that we were able to do. And in terms of the challenges, it was same for everybody. We've had to reach customers only through phone or online through Zoom, but that also opened up opportunities in terms of technologies that we can make available to the education community, which otherwise would have taken probably much more longer to get to go to market.
What technologies are being adopted in schools in the UAE and in India?
I think one of the biggest uptake right now, because in the past 2-3 years, has been the adoption of what is called the learning management systems. So what this provides is access to students, teaching notes, lecture notes, content provided by teachers or videos created by teachers, access to quizzes and research material online. So it is student-led learning. So the students have access to this anytime, anywhere. So when they do come into the classrooms, whether it is in school or in universities, the learning is more collaborative in nature. They're able to ask the right kind of questions. So it's no more just grabbing whatever the teachers are saying, but they're able to think about it and have more creative, collaborative aspects to learning. I think that has been one of the biggest implementation right now. And obviously also schools have now more access to laptops or iPads or tablets, which means that providing these kind of online learning is becoming possible, which previously was a challenge. And also in homes, families have now invested in more laptops because of the challenges in the past 2 years, and hence have got access to more technologies as well. And also I think teachers have now become more adept at using these technologies because they've had to learn fast. And now making more good quality content to make use of these technologies so they can reach out to students and provide them access to learning anytime.
What advice do you have for female entrepreneurs looking to start their own edutech business?
Well, in any business, women are great educators naturally. I think especially moms, because I always said the mom is the first teacher. But not just in a tech business, but in any business, I think women have right now great prospect and potential. There's so much opportunities available to work from home, because now work from home has become a possibility, more accepted in global corporations around the world, and also the kind of networks available for women. So my advice to be women is that do your research, but jump in and get started. Don't let the imposter syndrome stop you, because there's much more, I think, potential available in women, and prospects and opportunities available in women now than before. And join a group, get mentors, and join a network of women entrepreneurs who will propel you forward. So I would think that I would go for it and jump for it.
As Dubai continues to develop its digital economy, there's plenty of growth opportunities for edutech startups to capitalize on in this market. Back to you, Sananda.
All right, Karen, thank you so much for that. I'm going to take a quick break. Tapsee Pannu, someone who, of course, needs no introduction, but she has just stepped into the entrepreneurial world with a brand called Laiqa. What's the brand all about? We'll hear from her directly in just a moment. Do come back. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight in the hot seat is Tapsee Pannu. You've openly spoken about female menstrual hygiene. You've spoken about, just female hygiene in general. You've spoken about periods, and this is something that you've been quite vocal about. So maybe you could start there and ask you to really talk about why you decided that this was something that you needed to, really talk about publicly, and what that journey perhaps has been like for you.
See, actually, it stems from one's own personal experience. The fact that while growing up, most of my time during periods was about how to avoid talking about it, about how to hide it, about how to not let it surface in any way in conversation, or to be worried about it. Nobody should know about it. So only to grow up and read and get to know more about it and realize that how can it be something that you're embarrassed or awkward about when this is actually a mark of your health or something that is responsible for the human race. So it was a very not sudden, maybe for years of enlightenment, of understanding how this is the most natural thing that can happen to a woman, and a most positive thing about her health. So to use my platform, my power, to address the fact that this is not something to be awkward or ashamed about. Because if you're awkward and ashamed about it, you end up probably hiding a lot of problems that you might be having with the process of periods, and which might actually help you to deal with it. You'll just shun it away because you're awkward to even talk about it. So because I have gone through it, the awkwardness of talking about it is why I wanted to use this platform now to let people understand how stupid it is to feel awkward about it.
So that brings me then to Laiqa. Just run us through the process of having been involved so closely. You're not just the co-founder, you're also the chief innovation officer when it comes to Laiqa. What was that process like? What specific need perhaps is that addressing? What can you tell our viewers?
See, it starts from the very fact of acknowledging or enlightening about the different myths and taboos that we need to get rid of around periods. It starts with that, to your hygiene, to how the products that Laiqa is going to present are going to be extremely user friendly, not in just terms of accessing it, but also in terms of how good it is for you, good it is going to be for the environment. And then going ahead and doing the social getting into the most social aspect of it by having a counselor there available to help you, having this Period Pal app that is going to help you get this one-stop shop in a way to help you deal with everything that you might face during periods, right from having any issues and consulting a consultant, to having a subscribed package that is going to reach your doorstep without even worried about, you have your napkins available before your date or no, or to an extent of, keeping a track of your cycles and health in
Yeah.
return. And also a lot of, these small kind of myth busting corner where we talk about how things are not how we have been told for so many years. Just a friend who we probably never had, and that awkward conversation that we never did will be done with you and your screen directly. And that is what is, the innovation part of it that I wanted to bring about with the help of Laika. And that's what you're going to use now, hopefully.
Um, what market are you addressing, Tapsee? Because, like you were saying, there's so much misinformation. People don't talk about it openly. It's not just in rural India, it's even urban women like us. So is this necessarily then targeted at perhaps women who are in tier one urban markets? And how do you perhaps open up the market for a brand like yours?
I think every menstruator, it's for every menstruator. We want to create a very period positive environment where anyone who, who is menstruating doesn't feel anything negative associated with it, like we have been feeling for the longest time. It's always been surrounded by myths and taboos. So a little bit of disgust and shame is there to have a conversation around it, whereas it should actually be a mark of strength and health and pride. To start with our first product line of Laiqa pads, we would address the need of every menstruator to have a very healthy, rash-free experience. We don't want them to feel like, okay, even if they're suffering a problem with the product, which by the way we do with most of the products that are available in market, we don't even want to talk about it because it's just an awkward conversation to have at first place. So as a user who has gone through those issues with the other products, I can confidently put forth a product which is not going to make you go through those issues. And our principle is not just good for her, it's also good for earth, because these are biodegradable products which are not going to harm the environment, which adds on to your guilt-free experience of using something that you might feel that later can be discarded without getting worried about how it might affect the environment in return. It is, chlorine free, it's paraben free, it doesn't have any artificial fragrance or any toxins. So you don't have to worry about either your health or the health of the environment. At the same time, we are targeting everyone who has an access of using an app, which after, like it or no, after the whole COVID waves that we've experienced, now everything is becoming more and more digital. People are becoming more digital savvy now. So anyone who has an access to an app can actually use it.
Sure, sure. So I want to also then discuss the costing aspect. GST, of course, we know that GST on sanitary napkins, after a lot of campaigning and public awareness, that has been, done away with. But a lot of products and innovations which are coming out as far as, menstrual hygiene is concerned, because they are organic, because, they're using a lot of natural elements and products and are differentiated from the commercial so-called products which are available in the market, tend to be more expensive. How do you want to address this? What do you want to tell our viewers?
See, I to start with itself, we're gonna start off with a heavy discount process. So that the idea is to not to really have great profit margins to begin with. Actually, the idea is to make sure that it is accessible and easily available. And there's so many times that women actually don't want to buy it because of the cost, and they don't even tend to address the fact that their health is at risk because they don't change the napkins that frequently because of the cost. So the idea is to start off making them understand that, okay, if it's going to be a pocket heavy issue, then let us get that out of the way for you.
Sure, sure. Um, your journey as an entrepreneur and as a woman entrepreneur has perhaps been different from what I would call a typical female entrepreneur. But that being said, maybe one opportunity and one challenge in this entire entrepreneurial journey that you've had that you could highlight for us and use that to sort of talk to our female audience, our women entrepreneurs who are there in the audience watching this interview, to say, this is how I perhaps learned from this. This is what I would like to tell you.
The fact that we always add that extra female to an entrepreneur, that extra female in front of an actor, an extra female in front of a director, is itself the first challenge. That's
Sure.
because we're still not at equals. So the
Yeah.
fact that we have to address that extra word female in front of an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. There's never a doctor is a doctor,
Yep.
an engineer is an engineer, regardless of the
Yeah.
gender. I think that very first, that gender specification before your job specification is something that shows that we're still not equal, and because of that inequality is the first hurdle that you face, because there's always a double look at a female entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So that thing, I think will get normalized when we have more and more female entrepreneurs. I can only lead by example. There's so many women out there who are like taking some great steps. I'm just starting off. I'm hoping if I can use not just being an entrepreneur, but being a public figure before being an entrepreneur as a medium to, as I said, instill confidence that, we need to have more and more women here, is the only way where that female before your job specification will go away. And then it'll be a level playing field.
Tapsee, so good having you here on the show with us. Thanks for taking the time, and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, that was our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.